everybody! It's story time. So I wanted to read you a story, a funny little story about the animal we're going to be talking about this week. And I want to give you a hint. We talked a little bit about it last week, but let's see if you can guess what animal this is. This is an animal you see come out in the spring a lot. And we talked about spring weather, that it rains a lot in the spring, right? We need rain for the flowers and the plants. And it happens to rain a lot in the spring because the plants and flowers are coming back to life. And this is a little animal that we see in our garden wiggling around. And in fact, the letter of the week last week, right? Do you remember the letter of the week? This is the same letter that his name begins with. The name of this animal begins with this letter. It's dun, 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 dun. What letter is that? W. Yep. This animal is an animal that starts with this letter. It wiggles and wiggles in the garden, and it's very important to the earth. You got it. It's a worm, right? Do you like worms? Well, I hope by the end of this week, when you learn a lot about worms, you might start to understand them and like them better. They're not there to scare you. They're tiny and they wiggle around, and okay, sometimes they look a little slimy. We can describe them as being slimy sometimes and dirty because they do live in the dirt, but they're very important. And I hope by the end of the week you can agree with me that they are important to the earth. And this is a very funny story. It's called Diary of a Worm. Do you know what a diary is? So a diary is something that you write, and you write it daily, okay? You write it every day. So you might start it with Monday, write Monday, March 20th, 2020, Dear Diary. Today I went for a walk in the park after it rained and I saw some worms. And then you might tell about what else happened in your day. So that's a diary, and you keep it every day. And no one's really supposed to read it. It's all about what you want to talk about. It's just writing things down that you want to say. So this is called Diary of a Worm. This is a worm writing a diary. So look at that picture. What do you see in that picture? So when you look at this picture and you see this worm, do you think this is going to be a nonfiction story about like an informational text about worms, or do you think it's going to be a made-up fiction story? Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a fiction story because why? Yeah, the worm is holding a pencil. He's writing. He's got a hat on. Worms don't normally do that, right? But this is going to be a funny little story here. It's called Diary of a Worm. The author is Doreen Cronin, and the pictures are drawn by Harry Bliss. He's the illustrator. Okay. And if you look on here, you can see a lot of signs of spring. Do you see some signs of spring on that picture? Yeah. Flowers and a dragonfly. And I see on this side a ladybug, if you can spy it. And I see on this side a bumblebee and a spider. All things that you might see in the garden in the spring. So let's start. March 20th. Mom says there are 3 things I should always remember. Number 1, the earth gives us everything we need. Number 2, when we dig tunnels, we help take care of the earth. Number 3, never bother Daddy when he's eating the newspaper. What's silly about that? People read newspapers, right? But worms might eat an old newspaper if it's hanging around. March 29th. Today, I tried to teach Spider how to dig. First of all, his legs got stuck. Then he swallowed a bunch of dirt. Tomorrow, he's going to teach me how to walk upside down. And Spider says, I think I've twisted one of my ankles. And Worm says, ugh, I give up. A spider is a spider and a worm is a worm, and they do the things that they do, right? Look, here he is trying to teach Worm how to walk upside down. March 30th, worms cannot walk upside down. That's okay. April 4th, fishing season started today. We all dug deeper. April 10th, it rained all night and the ground was soaked. We spent the entire day on the sidewalk. Hopscotch is a very dangerous game for worms. You see the tunnels? So then when it rains, the tunnels get flooded and all the worms come up onto the soil, on top of the soil, right? Why are they scared of fishermen? This says bait. Because fishermen use worms as bait because fish like to eat worms. April 15th. I forgot my lunch today. I got so hungry that I ate my homework. My teacher made me write, I will not eat my homework 10 times. When I was finished, I ate that too. So you see that sometimes I guess worms eat paper. April 10th. I snuck up on some kids in the park today. They didn't hear me coming. I wiggled right up between them and they all screamed. I love when they do that. They're scared of him. Look how tiny he is and look how big they are. That's just silly. What is the worm gonna do? May 1st. Grandpa taught us that good manners are very important. So today I said good morning to the first ant that I saw. Good morning. There were 600 more of them in line. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I stood there all day. You know, when you see ants also, you see a lot of them. You don't only just see one ant, you usually see a bunch of ants together, right? May 8th. Uh-oh, dun, dun, dun. Whose feet are those? What kind of feet are they? Probably a bird. Had the worst nightmare last night. Giant birds playing hopscotch. Mom says I have to stop eating so much garbage right before I go to bed. You know how a lot of times if you eat too much junk before you go to bed, you have bad dreams? Well, what do worms dream about? Giant birds, right? Because they'll eat them. May 15th. I got into a fight with Spider today. He told me you need legs to be cool. Then he ran. I couldn't keep up. Maybe he's right. May 16th. I made Spider laugh so hard he fell out of his tree. Who needs legs? Look, he's on his back. Thud. May 28th. Last night, I went to the school dance. You put your head in, you put your head out. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about. That's all we could do. So, do worms have arms and legs? Nope. So you can't do the whole dance. Worms basically have a head and a back, and it all looks the same. June 5th. Today, we made macaroni necklaces in art class. I brought mine home, and we ate it for dinner. Daddy says, "You're very talented." So I think what we're finding out is worms like to eat garbage. June 15th. My older sister thinks she's so pretty. I told her that no matter how much time she spends looking in that mirror, her face will always look just like her rear end. Spider thought that was really funny. Mom did not. Look at her head and look at her back. It looks exactly the same. She's one long line. Worms are just one long muscle, right? July 4th. When I grow up, I want to be a Secret Service agent. Spider says I'll have to be very careful because the president might step on me by mistake. It's a dangerous job, I told him, but someone's got to do it. The Secret Service is someone who protects the president. Do you think a worm would be a good Secret Service agent? I don't know. They're kind of small. July 28th. 3 things I don't like about being a worm. Number 1, I can't chew gum. Number 2, I can't have a dog. Number 3, all that homework. July 29th. 3 good things about being a worm. Number 1, I never have to go to the dentist. No cavities, no teeth either. Number 2, I never get in trouble for tracking mud through the house. And number 3, I never have to take a bath. Because What did we learn here? Do worms have teeth? No, they don't. And they mostly live in the mud, in the dirt, in the soil. So it doesn't matter if they track mud in the house because their house is made of mud. August 1st. It's not always easy being a worm. We're very small, and sometimes people forget that we're even here. But like Mom always says, the earth never forgets that we're here. Because worms are really important to the earth. And we're going to learn why. This week, we're going to talk a lot about what worms do and how important they are to the earth. And I hope that by the end of this week, you're not going to scream when you see a worm, and you certainly won't ever step on a worm. In fact, during the week, and maybe after it rains, because it rained today a little bit and it rained yesterday, right? Maybe the worms will be coming up and we'll be able to find some of them, and we can observe them, which means look very closely at them without hurting them. If you have a magnifying glass, that's even more cool. Okay, to look at them. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to talk about worms, and we're going to find out why they're important to the earth. But before we go, I want to ask you a question. Where do worms live? Where do you think they live? Yeah, they live in the dirt. They live in the soil. That means they live underground. Okay, so when we say underground, do you know what sound you hear in the word under? It's the same sound you hear in another word. I'll give you another hint. When it's raining, you use this to keep the rain off your head and your body. Umbrella. So words like under, underground, umbrella, they all start with that sound. Do you know what letter that is that makes that sound? I'll give you another hint. Sometimes this letter makes a completely different sound. Most of the time it makes the sound in under and umbrella. But this mythical creature starts with this letter too. It's a mythical creature, a magical mythical creature that has a horn on its head and it looks like a horse. You got it. Unicorn. Unicorn starts with this letter too, but it makes the U sound. Actually, it makes the letter say its name. Did you guess what this letter is yet? What is it? U, exactly. So this is an arrow and it's pointing up. The opposite of down is up. So up starts with this letter, under starts with this letter, umbrella starts with this letter, and so does unicorn. So let's practice the sound. U, up, You try it. U, up, Most of the time, U makes that sound, But once in a while, the U says its own name, and it makes the sound U, like in unicorn. So during the week, you're going to look for more words that start with the letter U. Okay, we'll get back to that. I want to hear all the things that you find that start with the letter U. It's not an easy one. Not a lot of words start with U, but I know you could do it. You know you can find some. Here's a hint. It's a funny word. Underground, under, and underwear. That starts with U too. Okay, so happy Monday. Do your work, listen to your grown-ups, and I'll be back again with some really fun stories and activities. See you soon. Bye.